I'm gonna do something a little bit controversial. I'll be back in a little bit. I can already hear the comments a mile away telling me that what I'm about to drink here is a dead shot. It is a shot that has sat for way too long. It has lost its freshness and is probably gonna taste bitter and ashy and cold and all those nasty things you really aren't looking for in an espresso. Is that true, however? Well, let's find out. Pinkies out, of course. The short answer, and spoiler alert, is that no, this tastes great. This is a fantastic espresso shot, and I'm very, very happy with it, even after sitting, approximately 2 minutes. But why would there be people telling me that this espresso has died, or that espresso shots that sit for more than, let's say 15 seconds are dead? It's an interesting myth, and I think we should talk about it today. I've been making videos on the internet for a good while now. This is actually where I first ran into this rumor that shots will die if you leave them to sit for more than, let's say, 15 seconds as an example. I would post videos of me pulling an espresso shot in the cafe, then steaming my milk, and then assembling a latte together. And in my comments section would be many, many comments telling me that the shot that I had pulled and then let sit briefly for about 30 seconds while I steamed my milk was unusable. It was dead. I should not be putting in my latte, nor should I be serving it to people. And I went, wait, what? Now, back then when I started to see a big influx in the phrase, your shots are dying or your shots are dead, I wanted to figure out where that was coming from because it's not something that I had ever been taught, but then again, I'm not always right. In fact, I'm very frequently wrong, and I was ready to accept the fact that shots will die if they are left for a long enough time if I could find evidence that proved that. So I began looking, and I found a certain training manual from a certain place that shall not be named. Let me read it to you. On the topic of freshness, don't grind more espresso than you can use in 30 minutes. A brewed shot of espresso is only fresh for 10 seconds and should be incorporated into milk or other ingredients immediately. So, reading that piece of information started to make things click into place a little bit better because the training manual that comes from is from a company that is very, very large. Their cafes are arguably busier than any cafes that even I have worked at. Because of that, there needs to be some rules, some set of standards, some procedures that are universal across all those cafes so that the baristas that work there can work efficiently, can get drinks out as quick as possible, and can overall just have like the best bar flow possible. So setting a time limit on your shot, say 10 seconds from pulling the shot to putting in the drink, makes a little bit of sense, with the contingency that that's solely from like a speed and efficiency standpoint. Outside the context of wanting to work incredibly quickly, is there actually a 10-second time limit on espresso shots? I would say no, and I would say there are a couple variables and pieces of information we should look at to back up that standpoint, because that is the position I am taking today. The moral of this video I want to convey is that espresso shots don't die. They do in fact develop though. However, before we jump into all of that, I do want to give a humongous thank you to the people who are sponsoring, in a way, today's video. This bad boy right here is the Rancilio Silvia Pro X. Quite the name. There are a bunch of wonderful new features about this that I will highlight very quickly here. First thing I want to mention is that it comes in a wide variety of colors. They have pink, which is featured here and is lovely. They also have stainless steel, they have white and black, and they're all so just gorgeous. Another super helpful external addition is the pressure gauge that you see right here. Very, very nice for tracking kind of how your espresso is pulling. You of course still have the dual boiler set up, so you're able to steam and pull shots simultaneously, which I love. You still have the dual PIDs, and then you also have control over variable soft infusion, which is a really cool thing that you can use to mess around with like the acidity and just overall body of your espresso if you are a little bit nerdier and like to get a little bit nerdier with your espresso shots. This entire machine is fantastic. I am incredibly excited to use it. I'm incredibly grateful for Rancilio to trust me with it. And if you want to learn more about it, I'm going to have a link in my description. So thank you again to Rancilio for sponsoring today's video and also just kind of sponsoring the espresso machines that I get to use in every week's video. Now, let us pull some more espresso. Let us talk some more about dead shots. When When you look at a freshly pulled espresso shot, you have two main components that you can see. You have this much darker liquid at the bottom, which is going to be the main body of your espresso shot, and you have this lighter, kind of foamier liquid sitting on top, and that, in fact, is crema. Crema is very cool. Crema is essentially CO2 microbubbles that have been released during the process of pulling espresso, and it floats and sits nicely on top, giving you a very nice textural experience. However, as that CO2 dissipates, the crema of course disappears and you're just left with this nice liquid down here at the bottom. Going along with our dead shots theory, I've also frequently seen the statement that the crema is the indicator of how good your shot is, and or the lifetime of how long your crema lasts on your shot is how long you have to drink said shot. Couple things to unpack here. Crema is not an indicator necessarily of how good your espresso shot is. It is merely a byproduct of how we have prepared the espresso. You can have poorly prepared espressos that have a really thick, rich looking crema. You can have really, really good espressos that have very little crema, or a crema that has like broke or parted on the top. Now, the other part that I mentioned before, being that your lifetime of your coffee is how long your crema lasts, is kind of interesting, and it has been debunked on both kind of a national and an international level. If you look at barista competitions, specifically like the United States Barista Championship, which I have competed in the past, and you watch competitors' routines, very frequently you will see competitors who pull their espresso, serve them to the judges, and then tell the judges not to drink them for a certain amount of time. This might seem counterintuitive because during that time, your crema is dissipating as all that gas finishes releasing. You also have your coffee cooling down, and in theory, if we're following the dead shot logic, your shot is dying and the judges will be tasting a subpar product at the end of it when the competitor finally says that they can in fact drink their espresso. However, letting the crema dissipate somewhat, letting the espresso cool down a bit, is actually a strategy in order for people to enjoy coffee more. We can see here that the brewing temperature on this machine right now is 200 degrees Fahrenheit. The boiling point for Fahrenheit is 212 degrees, so this is just under a boil. And while yes, there will be a little bit of heat loss in the process of brewing and your espresso dropping into your cup, if you are drinking your espresso within 10 seconds of it pulling, that is a very, very hot drink. That heat will tend to mask any potential flavors or notes you'd be able to enjoy in the espresso if it was a slightly cooler beverage, which is why frequently competitors will recommend their judges wait for a bit. Bringing the temperature down a little bit will allow them to enjoy the drink at, first of all, a non-scalding temperature, and second of all, they'll be able to taste more of the flavors both in the front and the back of the espresso. Just for science, let me show you exactly what I mean. After letting our espresso cool for approximately 1 minute, we are left with a drink that is sitting at about 145 degrees Fahrenheit, which is nice. That is a very nice temperature to drink my espresso at. So let me stir up my espresso. It's still plenty warm enough, but I'm able to kind of taste the fruit that is on the front of it. I'm able to taste a little bit of the acidity in the middle, and then I'm also able to get some of that really nice chocolate that kind of like sits at the end. It's kind of like a milk chocolate finish. Altogether, much more pleasant than tasting what I would just describe as hot espresso flavor. So all in all, I think there's 3 main things to think about the next time you are told or you are maybe taught that espresso will die if not served in 10, 15, or even 20 seconds. Number 1 is remembering that while it is frequently taught, and while I do agree that you should serve espresso quickly, it's not necessarily from a flavor or taste standpoint, it is frequently from a speed and efficiency standpoint. 2 different things there. Number 2 is that crema is not this ticking time bomb that tells you whether your espresso is good or if it is bad. It's something that is a byproduct of the process of brewing espresso, and it's something that some coffees will just inherently have more of because of how far off of roast they are, or even what kind of roast they are. It's something that some people like to sip. It's something that some people don't like. It's just a thing that is not necessarily good or bad. And number 3, look to some of the barista experts both nationally and internationally. They are saying that you don't need to drink your espresso immediately. In fact, maybe it's a little nice to let it sit for a minute. That being said, I hope all of these things can be something you think about the next time you see a comment or are presented with the, and I'm gonna go out on a limb here, the myth that espresso shots are going to die after 10 to 15 seconds. And in the situation where you find your shots are tasting dead and ashy and just bitter and nasty after 10 seconds, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that maybe, just maybe, it wasn't a good shot of espresso to begin with. And with that, I will climb off my soapbox. This has been a very fun video to make. It's a really fascinating topic about dead espresso shots. I think it's an interesting little like thing that floats around once in a while, and I think it's fun to look at what actually happens to espresso shots as they cool or as they pull or all of those things. So I hope this was educational for you. Again, if you would like any fun links and things about this machine and anything at all, I will be linking tons of stuff down in the description below as usual. I don't have a drink to walk off camera with today, which is very unfortunate, so I will just leave. I'll just scuttle out of here. I will see you all on Friday because yes, this was a bonus video. There is still a very normal Friday video coming out. Please comment down below what you thought about today and if you learned about dead espresso shots or any of that. I'm gonna leave now because I'm rambling. I will see you all next time. Have a great day, everyone.